Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me, Danae, and I'm here with a message for you. Today is July 20th, 2024, and today I'm going to do the full moon reading, message first and reading. As always, they will be time-stamped in the description box and in the comments below. But yeah, without further ado, we're going to jump right into it. So this is the full moon in Capricorn message. All right, so this is the second full moon in Capricorn, right? In a row. So the last one was also ironically on the 21st, but of course in June. Apparently, this is because the lunar calendar and the phases of the moon are not in sync. There's so much that can be outlined regarding this lunation and the current planetary alignments. But the highlight above all is that change is imminent. Even as the full moon itself is occurring at the 29th degree of Capricorn, there's no way to avoid a transition through and to fate. Endings and beginnings are casualties of life, yet these occurrences could be a bit more energetically amplified than usual. Maybe, maybe not. Perhaps depending on your thrill threshold. If you're not particularly fond of roller coasters, super fast speeds, daunting heights, stomach plunging drops, it may be a slight comfort to know that it will eventually come to an end and pull back into the station. For those that fancy a little or even a lot of adventure, by the time it's all over, you may want to go again. In any event, all of creation is strapped in for this universal transition, whether we like it or not. So you might as well enjoy the ride. As we head out of Cancer season, emotions could pop up like a social media suggestion of a friend you haven't seen in years. Depending on your memories, that could be triggering or intriguing. Either way, you've grown older and hopefully wiser now to appraise the value of that past connection and to assess the benefits or burdens of a present reconnection. Are we talking about people or emotions, right? Well, both and more. People, places, and things only have the liberty to project to you inferences of truth that you have the power to confirm or deny, simply on account of your engagement or lack thereof. So if we're talking things like feelings and emotions, or people like friends and foes, you determine what matters, what doesn't, and the respective order of priority. Now that may seem more simply professed than performed, right? But I am a living witness that it is possible. In fact, it's imperative through this portal of change that you assume and assert your righteous right to abstain from any erroneous energies and or elements that can't ultimately be transmuted productively, and to be most intentional to connect and or commit to the frequencies that you emit or aspire to sustain. Good vibes only. Release fear and pain. And that's it for the full moon message in Capricorn. Full moon in Capricorn message, okay? So we're going to jump right into the full moon reading. This is the full moon reading in Capricorn. Right? I'm pretty sure I didn't say I hope you're doing well and all of that good stuff that I so sincerely mean. So I hope that you're doing well. I hope that you are strapped in for a thrilling ride of change on the way to destined and fated changes that are occurring in spirit and in truth right now, all in the spirit of destiny, in the spirit of purpose. I think I already said destiny, right? Yeah, it's all good, you know, even if it's like in the message how I liken it to a roller coaster ride. You know, some people won't even get on, you know, some people don't want no parts of thrills and spills. Some people get on begrudgingly or because they feel pressured to, and some people can't wait to ride. I'm kind of like the last of those Mohicans. Like I do love the thrills. I'm not necessarily one that'll seek out the most, like the scariest drops. Like I really not particularly fond of like going up into things that just drop down. There's no like dips and turns, and there's no point to the ride other than to go up and come down. That's not my particular taste in thrill. However, you know, I do love a good roller coaster ride. I do. And whether you, as I said, whether you do or don't, the one thing that is universal is that it has to come to an end at some point in time. You can't maintain a certain momentum and speed forever. So, you know, take that for what it's worth. Hopefully you'll find a way to enjoy yourself through this transit, through this lunation, through this season, because I mean, it's summertime, and summer is made to be fun. It's made to be enjoyed. So if you have a couple curveballs throughout the season that you maybe weren't necessarily expecting, or maybe even had to duck to some degree, like just still enjoy the game. Enjoy as much of the recreation of the sport of life as you possibly can, because it's for a purpose. It's taking you somewhere, and ultimately it's guiding you in a direction that you have ultimately manifested. You've called this in. The universe is just helping us along the way. So trust me, I'm speaking to myself when I'm saying these things, because it's easier said before the ride gets started, and then you start heading up that first incline and you're like, oh my God, should I have gotten on this ride? Am I okay? Am I strapped in right? You know, you start thinking of all the worst things, you know, that could have possibly occur, or all the reasons why maybe you should have just stayed down on the ground. You know, those friends that'll stay in line with you through, you know, all the way up to the top of the ride, let you get on, and they'll see you down at the bottom. You know, sometimes you wish you would be that friend, but the thrill is much more fun. It just is. So, whatever. Enjoy. Right? Strength card. Exactly. The thrill. Courage. Courage, strength, boldness. And this is, that's what I didn't mention in the message, is that Leo season is just around the bend. So even though tomorrow being the 21st on Sunday with the full moon, there could be a myriad of emotions collectively that we may incur. And like, as I said, depending on who you are, that could affect you different ways. And even the placements in your chart, what's going on in your life presently, what support systems you have or don't, or whatever the case may be. It could affect you none at all, or It could be, the ride of your life, whatever. But whatever it is, Leo season around the corner is going to amplify exactly what I'm saying, that fresh feeling of energy, fun, enthusiasm, where you're almost like reconnecting with your inner child, allowing it to be a little more free, to run a little wild, to have some fun, even in the midst of change, even in the midst of maybe some ambiguity to some degree for some. You can look forward, and here it is with when I'm saying it, eventually it comes to a stop. Leo season will just be beginning, but I think from my experience and from my limited knowledge of astrology that it'll be just the boost of energy that we need, especially coming out of Cancer and with this intense moon cycle, to feel a little bit more light about it. Whatever the change may be, whatever the present occurrence may be, we'll have a bit more enthusiasm, boldness, courage, and confidence to face it. And again, of course, that Leo sensuality, where it turns everything into everything becomes alluring to some degree. It makes love to everything in some way, shape, or form. That Leo energy can be hyper sensual, if you know what I mean, but in this case, in all the right ways, where you truly can make lemonade out of lemons if need be, right? So all you need is a little bit of sugar or honey, whatever you fancy. All right, so we got the Strength card here, and we got the Four of Pentacles here. This is like holding on to some energy, conserving energy with the Four of Pentacles, maybe conserving your strength. Maybe that's, because here's the walking away. And then this is maybe what we're releasing or moving away from with the Five of Swords, is like this feeling of resistance, and that war phase, that wartime phase that we've all been in, where everything's been a battle, a fight to the death, where you don't even know where your enemy is attacking from sometimes, let alone who your enemy actually is. And then lo and behold, you find out that part of that enemy, if not all of the enemy, may actually be you. And that can come up in all types of forms, even as I spoke about it in the message of what we allow to take precedence in our lives. Old emotions, old habits, ideals, projections, experiences, failures, whatever the case may be, that come to attack, especially in those most vulnerable moments of that crossover to a threshold of something new, where we finally have kind of gathered the strength and the courage to leave some things behind, is when you may get confronted with that sensation to want to hold on yet still, or for people to want to hold on to you as they see you moving on. There's that too as well. But you stay strong, stay encouraged, be in strength. As I often say, my favorite reader, one of my favorite readers, Your Angelic Karma, she's like the OG, one of the OGs at least, of spiritualist. She's more than just a reader. Like, she is quite brilliant in many of her perspectives of life and astrology, and common themes of life, and so on and so forth. And anyway, she's also a fellow Sagittarius, so I feel like I relate to her on a more on a different level. Like I can connect to her come from a lot more as well. But anyway, she often says, where there's strength, the devil is lurking. So this could be you coming out of an escape of some enemy resistances, or maybe not so much escape, maybe so, hell, maybe so. But it seems like a calm walk away here with the Eight of Cups, where you're just deciding that it's time to go, it's time to move on, and enemies are kind of left behind to fight amongst themselves, more or less, you know. And to some degree, that can be quite confusing and provocative at the same time, especially when they expected not only more of a fight from you, but also to have some type of victory over you. And this could be that energy represented here with the Four of Pentacles, wanting to kind of hold on to their expectations or hold you even in place to keep you from moving on. But as you can see, what moves right past that but the Strength card? Because as I said in the message, nothing has that liberty to hold you in place, to keep you bound, to keep you blocked. It can only project to you that that is what your reality is. How you engage it, entertain it, or otherwise is the truth of what it gets to be, you know? So we got this Eight of Pentacles here. Hey, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, working towards some windfall of, well, definitely a new opportunity that has great potential for prosperity. I mean, not even potential, like this is almost a guarantee of prosperity here, especially on, this may even be on account of the work that you've already done, perhaps even just to simply walk away from things that don't serve you. So that's why I call like this lunation here, and it's really been between the previous full moon in Capricorn and to now, but this is like the culmination of it. It literally is the closing of a portal as you move into some new space, or into a new reality. And that is usually that time when emotions come back to kind of test your resolve, see how far you've come. Or are you evolved from where you used to be even just a month ago? You know, considering, you know, me personally, I more or less journal at least through every moon cycle in some way, shape, or form. So if you do that, then you can actually reflect and track back to what you were expressing just, I guess, 30 days ago or so, with whatever, I guess that was 30 days, what you were doing, what you were thinking about, what you were releasing during that full moon. Then even consider what you initiated in the previous new moon and between this time. Consider, as every full moon is for, your progress, reflect on your progress and take inventory of your advancement throughout that time cycle. And that may be the reward in itself, to really consider how much you've grown in even that short time frame. But this really is a collective reflection of even as far back as the top of the year, I believe, if you really consider it. And that could seem like a long way to go, but you know, that may actually be the grounding effort that is needed for you in a moment of induced emotions or intensity, or even something that may be a triggering confrontation, to reflect on how far you've come within the last 6-7 months, and what you have established for yourself in this present time, to affirm that, you know, even as things may want to come up, and you know, old friends, emotions, ideas, fears, whatever they may be, may want to come back and say, hey, remember me? You know, we used to be so cool back in the day. Don't you remember? They want to start going down memory lane. Look at this. Yeah, the lover's card. You want to go down memory lane and start reminiscing about stuff that doesn't even really matter today. All it is a memory, quite honestly. That's why I was keen to say, like, you have the power to really appraise these emotions, these feelings, even these connections. We are in the pre-shadow of Mercury retrograde, so there's that's also intertwined. Saturn in retro, all of these intensities that we are working through, that are actually working through us, spiritually working through our physical being, but all for the purposes of affirming the choice that we made. Let's say, I don't even know, whenever it is that you made it. It could have been, like I said, it could have been just as recent as last month. It could have been last season in the spring. It could have been top of the year, turn of the new year. It could have been 3 years ago. Whatever it was, the universe has honored your decision to submit to your supreme nature above all, to be in the intention of self-love and in the unconditional exchange of love with the universe, because I often see that as the Ace of Cups. And that was the work, it was really kind of as simple as that, and here's the reward, So, yeah. So anything that may appear to be any type of projection against that, or to threaten where you are now, who you are now, that's really just all it has the energy to do. It doesn't have any true impact unless you give it permission to do so. And you're way too strong, way too powerful, way too balanced in your spiritual and carnal nature at this point. So it's like, it doesn't mean that you can't be affected at all. You can feel your feelings. You can consider what emotions may arise, what thoughts may be confrontational. Hell, what people and things may be confrontational, but it doesn't mean that you have to surrender or submit to it. You give it placement, precedence as it has earned it, or as it is necessary to do so, or you don't. You release it all together and hide the highest vibration of that occurrence or engagement in your spiritual bank, like your spiritual safe, so to speak, as only something that has not only grown you to where you are, but will only have the impact to continue to grow you. So that means, like, the worst of circumstances, the worst of memories, the worst of experiences, relationships, occurrences, even decisions that you would have made differently with a different level of wisdom. You take the highest value of it at this point. You consider what it afforded you to even get to this point, that maybe you may not have gotten here without it. And so that's the way that you maintain a gratitude and a grace for all things experienced and encountered, even as you take the present stance and authority to decide whether or not it still gets to accompany you. And most times it doesn't, because you've probably outgrown it, which is why the Four of Pentacles exists, and even the Five of Swords in the first place, where people are provoked to resistance, or to aggravated aggression or assault, or, you know, or to even just hold on to you for dear life, because, you know, your energy matters most to them to be accessible for their own personal gratification, whatever that may be, than it does for you to evolve in the ways that may be disconnected or devoid of that relationship or that connection, acquaintance, whatever. All right, so let's see what else we got. I think that was the moon card. Yep, fancy that. Moon card. Whoa. Damn it. Oh man, now I gotta get up. Hold on. Not you motherfuckers again. Are you for real? These Three of Pentacles going to get enough with their collusions and corruptions. Their secret meetings and... Oh my God. What's on the bottom? What the Empress card? Like secretly planning a coup or some type of like... what do you call it? A coup, or like trying to overthrow authority, or overthrow like a takeover or something like that, like to take over somebody's power or position. Just as I said, right? You know, they value your energy, but what's more is what they'll be willing to do that would be a casualty to your liberty and freedom to possess it, whether it be your presence, connection to your presence or your essence, access to it. Who knows what these Three of Pentacles are planning up under the Five of Swords. It can't be nothing too great, to be honest. And the Moon card came first, peeked out. It's like something secretive and mystical still going on here. But I'm going to tell you one thing, and this is free game. You ain't got to take it. This is not the time or the place for the same old mystical antics. It's just not. The Strength card is not about to F around. The target of attack is not the same energy that, you know, it's some people might think that may take your retreat or your passiveness to some degree as a weakness, and that's where they're gonna fuck around and find out that it's a whole lion over here under this skirt, literally, that you just might not want to mess around with. Okay, that everybody's not. The point, I guess, just went through this whole spiel about reflecting and reviewing your growth and your strength over any particular amount of time. It really doesn't matter, because everyone that's been intentional to evolve in a productive sense has done so more than they even realized. We're talking about like not even knowing your true strength and ability yet, because it really hasn't been asserted to its full strength, you know? So people may still be observing marks and targets in the capacity of what they see as weak, and first and foremost, or reflective of what they knew of you at a different time, or how they knew to engage you or trigger you or upset you or make you feel insecure or provoke you to anger, whatever it is, make you cower and retreat or be fearful, whatever the case may be. It's not the same frequency. And that makes all the difference when you're talking about being assertive and authoritative over your creative energy, because a lot of the projections that were impactful and impressionable once upon a time were on the account of a lack of self-awareness. But there's far too much self-awareness for those that wanted to be aware, and there's even more so a mystical facility and ability within those that hasn't even really been asserted yet, and you might not want to poke the lion. I know they say poke the bear, but you might not want to poke the lion and actually have it be unleashed on you righteously as to just how powerful someone has become, even unbeknownst to themselves. Like, just chill. I know it's probably falling on deaf ears from my lips to the universal sphere, but hey, it's been said. I've done my job. I've done my job. This came first, so let's go with that. Yeah, here's the plans. The Two of Pentacles. I'm sorry, Two of Wands. Still trying to enact some harebrained scheme. Feeling like, well, this the one. This is going to do it. We got it this time. It didn't work last time the way we thought, because like they done went back to the drawing board, tweaked something, realigned with some new accomplices, brought in some new energy, came with some new information, employed some new practitioner, found some new suckers to be a sacrifice that don't even know it. It's just like, it's the same old song, but the lyrics are a bit different this time. The tune is the same, but there's a bit of a remix. Yeah. And the party that it was ain't the party that it is no more. Yeah, already in celebration about some victory, or I don't even know what they think is going on here. Three of Cups. That's a call for celebration. And it's funny because I feel like whatever energy though people are celebrating in over on account of the retreat they think you've made, or the victory or advantage they think they've won, even that energy is actually being transferred to alchemize as your strength. And that's the gotcha. Even that is a gift to you, and what appears to be your weakness, that just adds value. They don't even want me to say it, trying to take my throat. It just adds value to, adds another layer to your own personal confidence, of which doesn't need to be pronounced, doesn't need to be boasted, doesn't even need to be exhibited. It just is. And that's part of the reason why a lot of your adversaries, at least that position themselves to be so, don't really know how strong you are, what potential power you possess, because it's not on your agenda to flex. It's not necessary. You know, it's like the difference between those somebody that just they work out, they got a nice body, they wear clothes that looks good on them, looks good on their frame, you know, maybe a bit you know the type, you know, like you're not hiding yourself under your clothes. And the difference between those that, you know, those big brawny dudes that wear nothing but muscle shirts or tank tops, and perhaps it's because they can't really fit much because, you know, they're so ridiculously buff, which I think unless you are some type of like competitor or something, I just don't understand why you would want to bust up out of every garment of clothes. But hey, not my thing. But that I don't know why I just saw that difference. You know, it's just like this production of strength for some, where they look the part. You know, they got all the muscles, they got all the flex, they got, I mean, nothing left to the imagination in terms of their physique, what they exhibit, you know. But internally, and I'm not saying this about anybody that's particularly buff, it's just an analogy, but internally, they're weak as hell. They can't even do anything on their own. They have to have in each of these energy, lower frequency cards, they gotta have some type of support, some type of camaraderie or collusion or assistance, or, you know, like what's the saying? They wouldn't really even bust a grape in a fruit fight if you left it up to them solo. So it's just like, what's the real strength here? Really, the real strength is someone that knows how to temper their reactions and responses, that is focused on making, you know, enhancing themselves on the inside out. And if the outside happens to match the inside, so be it. It probably will, but it's more so about that inner flex, of which some may not even actually ever get to see in totality. So it's certainly not for show. It's not a production. It's not for appearances. It's for personal merit. That's the real flex. That's what the angels and ancestors celebrate for and support, toast to. Not somebody that just knows how to manipulate energy. So what? You need to realize that, yes, you know how to manipulate energy so well that you are manipulating yourself and you don't even realize it. Well, God, being possessed. Capricorn energy right here. Being possessed. You're so good at it that you then opened yourself up as a vessel for entities to just hop right on in. Congratulations. If that's a flex, then you got it. You'll never have any competition as far as I'm concerned. Like, exactly. Three of Wands, that's what you can look forward to. The terms of this contract being carried out to order and damn, I almost heard in perpetuity, but I hope not. I hope you find your way out of this binding, because that's a hell of a way to live. stuck in fear, insecurity, doubt, guilt, shame. It's like that's literally what somebody's holding on to the more that they continue to insist upon controlling the evolution of destiny. Not just for themselves, though. This is the control where they're manipulating energies outside of themselves that they don't have liberty to do so or jurisdiction over for their own personal gain. That's out of order. You cannot do that anymore. You will be looking forward to a return and reward on something for the rest of your days, and the only thing you're going to see a return and reward on is whatever you expelled. That's the fine print that you clearly either didn't read or somehow thought you could weasel your way out of. I don't know, but you don't get to unbind yourself out of any of the terms of an agreement such as this. There is no grace. There is no leniency. There is no understanding. There's no renegotiation. Whatever you have asserted yourself to and aligned yourself with is what it is until you breach that contract. This is a contract that you would want to breach. It's not going to yield much anyway. Yeah, exactly. Breach it. Come on. Like, you rather deny the spirit of the Most High, unconditional love, being bound by those terms, then you want to breach this. That's crazy. It may appear that there's so much more to lose of what you already possess, and probably that's what the idolization is about, of what you're trying to hold on to, of your present possessions. But that's an illusion. That's not even real. Those possessions are only contingent upon the fulfillment of this contract, of which is set up for you not to be able to fulfill it. It was created that way from the very start. When the divine offers you something, you can count on it. It's not like you gotta be quicker than that. Oh, no. It's like if the divine extends something to you and says, hey, this is for you, it's for you. There's no tricks. There's no hidden terms, hidden fees. Like, it doesn't even really want your sacrifice as we've been conditioned to believe. It wants your submission. That's a different frequency than sacrifice. The Knight of Swords, if there's anything to feel entitled to, it's love. This is somebody that's still living vengefully, ragefully, aggressively, trying to avenge. I don't know, maybe it's at the point where they realize that they in fact had been defeated or lost, where they thought they had claimed a victory and defeated someone. They realize, actually, I think I might have lost. I might have got the raw end of the deal here. But they're still not reacting and responding in a way that is productive. This is just somebody going backwards in the time, trying to change something or demand an outcome that probably is no longer available to them at this point. And in this case, it feels more so about these Three of Cups, because they're in the Four of Cups, they're usually rejecting the Ace of Cups. And it's more so a reflection, reminiscing about the Three of Cups that I think that came up too. Yeah, the celebration, and yeah, it came up earlier under the deck. This is them realizing that maybe I celebrated too soon, and they want to try to run something back or reclaim a right to something, maybe get a do-over. Are you going to get the do-over? Oh, you are. But it's not in the time frame of what they see. This is an energy that wants to be able to run it back and have a do-over under old terms, like before this contract, before they signed on this dotted line. You're going to get the do-over, but through the constraints of these terms, until you finally decide to breach that contract altogether and accept the terms of the divine. That's when you truly start doing it over. Otherwise, you're just repeating it, staying stuck in a cycle here at this point, refusing to accept a new offer. But and steady going backwards where the rest of the world is moving forward. This is the energy of moving against the grain of change that I was speaking about all through the message. Not accepting it, not applying it, just maybe even denying that it's even occurring, and insisting that if they say so, it gets to be the way that it was. They insist, and it's quite disappointing to still see that energy with all the evidence in the world now that that's just not the way to go. Is it not clear? I don't understand. Okay, Ten of Swords. Is it not clear? Are people possessed truly at this point already? I think they might be. Possessed by their own, what do they call it? Like visions of grandeur or something like that, whatever that term is. The pride and the ego that won't allow them to accept a loss, especially of this, of this magnitude here with the Ten of Swords. This is betrayal, this is defeat, this is sabotage, but it's really self-sabotage though, because there's nothing, as I also said in the message, that could ever really occur to you that you didn't have some agreement with at some point in time. That may be a triggering statement to make when you think about all the things that could occur to you as a victim, a so-called victim, but I don't even have time to unpack that. Please don't be triggered if it doesn't apply, but for now and for all intents and purposes, within reason, there has to be agreement with trauma. And tragedy to some degree. Maybe not tragedy, I don't know, but probably. And here's the Four of Swords. Yes, like even more so how you recover from it, if anything. That's what you have the power to reclaim. You could be down, but then how do you regenerate your energy amidst the trauma. This is Three of Swords up here, by way of truth. This is somebody that never really they never submitted themselves to that process. They just they gave themselves permission to continue to be a victimizer because perhaps at one time they were a victim. That's usually how it works. And instead of transmuting that experience into strength and power, they decided to pack it in their arsenal to cause harm and affliction to others, to use it as leverage or as an advantage to win at all costs. And you have the liberty to do that. Like free will's a thing, as they say. However, all the same, you have the will to abstain from those efforts and do something different than what was done to you. Somebody still does, and they're still rejecting it and denying it, still trying to have it the old way. And it's like, how many times are you going to get stabbed in the back? And it might not be any more times for somebody here with the Ten of Swords. This is someone's incessant denial and refusal to accept love ultimately for themselves could be the end of the road for them, where they have no choice but to lay down and recover. If not, sometimes this card can look like an eternal rest. This way. Oh, does that mean it's going to be on? No, I don't think so. All right, so we got the Seven of Wands, protection here again. Yeah, somebody finding themselves needing protection and coverage and security on account of the choices that they made, because karma, Wheel of Fortune, because it don't miss. And as I said before, it's somebody that's compounding retribution, like adding on to what gets to be repaid and answered for. And they have no viable defense for their actions at this point in time. Everything that it's like, how can I say this? Like everything that has liberty to attack someone in this frequency is sanctioned. There's nothing unjust. There's nothing unfair. There's no, it's like contractually admissible because they signed up for this by way of their choices. So it's like you couldn't even, until someone accepts the cup of the divine, which would ultimately probably be the breach of that contract, you couldn't stop the attacks and the I don't even know, like you couldn't stop that, and you wouldn't be, you would pretty much always be in this state of defensiveness until you first have paid off the debt that you owe, first and foremost, that you've already incurred, and commit to new terms. And this is someone that's already up to their neck in karmic debt at this rate, and they insist on continuing to add on to it. What's going to become of a person like that? You're eventually going, like I said, sabotage yourself. You're going to exhaust yourself, because each and every time you put yourself in a position to gain another strike on account of the strikes that you make, you lose more steam. you lose more vitality, you lose energy. You create yet another enemy for yourself and your force field. You lower your defenses to the point of depletion almost at this point. I already said somebody could actually be possessed. That means your spiritual force field is corrupted to such extremes that anything can get in and has jurisdiction to do so. Like, if it's like demons can just walk on in, because there's no security, there's no integrity. How can there be security? That's the only shield you really have. The only fortified shield is your own personal integrity. And this person won't even like listen to their own intuition to enhance and advance their personal integrity. If you won't listen to yourself and to Supreme Source at this point, even with all the evidence in the world that you need to, then it's just like a lost cause. I don't know what somebody thinks, that they're going to be able to like think their way out of danger, strategize their way to a win amidst these odds. It's not happening like that anymore. And it doesn't even matter who you work with, who you collude with, who you create with. None of that matters, because, yeah, it's still this, because it's every man for himself at this point. Nobody, it's like, even if you were in a trial and everybody's getting tried for the same crime, you're still being tried separately. It's not like, well, whatever they get, I get. Everybody has to answer for their own actions. And this is the energy of somebody insisting to get back to this point of control and dominance and tyranny is what I feel, up under the Six of Pentacles, to be able to have the advantage of power again that is that can be a dictatorship over less fortunate beings or more vulnerable beings. And you are the more vulnerable being now. Like, you, gunshots I just heard. Where was that? No, that might be fireworks. That's too many in a row. But yeah. Knight of Swords. Like, this is what they are insisting to get back to. This is not about self-control. No, like somebody ambitious to get back to coming to their sense. Because at this point, somebody doesn't even have the liberty to assume this position of power right now. Someone needs to defer to a higher power. They need to submit to their supreme nature. Something that is more advanced and healed in nature than what they have ultimately exhibited by their own choices at this point, at this time. So I'm just not, exactly, the Page of Wands, like somebody's got to go back to the basics. And there's nothing wrong with that. We all have to at some point in time. And you need to not be driven by pride or ego about that, because that's the other thing that is unproductive. When you think you're ever too good to be taught, or too advanced, too powerful to learn anything new, to discover something fresh about yourself or foreign about yourself. That's a great deal of the issue that led to this, to this demise in the first place. A lack of humility. Let's get one more. I set an alarm right now because I don't have incense that kind of tell me when we're done. So I don't go too crazy. I set an alarm so I know when I'm at an hour to start wrapping it up, which I'm pretty much done, so perfect timing. And here's this out again. Four of Swords. Yeah, somebody gonna get down or lay down. Anybody in this energy that's still insisting to be tyrannical against the universal order. Certainly against innocent beings or even divine beings, but even that's within the scope of against universal order, because you don't have jurisdiction and you don't have dominance over other energies outside of your own. You don't even have control of that in this frequency. So how can you assume control over others? So anybody that still insists on having it their way through the casualty and cost of others and their liberty, you're going to get down one way or another. You're either going to submit to rest or be laid to rest. Those are the options. And the spirit is not playing around anymore. At this, you can mess around if you want. It's no mercy on these energies anymore, because there have been too many warnings. So it's like what's been withheld in terms of judgment and sentencing, is now about to be unleashed. Because it's like, it comes to the point, if you know as a parent, it's like, how many times am I going to keep saying the same damn thing? Eventually you had it up to here, and you have to do something different for the message to be clear. And it's really more for the sake of the protection of that child or that dependent, whatever it may be, than it really is about your nerves. It's like, if I don't do something, you gonna kill yourself. Then what? Especially if it's some, and you really should, honestly, if anybody is in the position where the divine is just continuously kicking your ass and allowing you to live to tell the story, you actually should see it as how precious you must truly be for it to even matter that much, and not just be wiped off the face of the earth by now. That should be an indication right there of how special and precious you truly are. But of course, it doesn't always translate that way. Queen of Swords, what's she talking about? Wow. She's speaking truth to power, and power to truth. Wheel of Fortune, it's like, it's inevitable. Destiny shall be one way or another, and nobody can avoid the truth and reality of it. Nobody. It's happening. So you're either going to get with it or literally get lost. Lost in space. And that feels even more sensational than what I'm laughing at. But literally, people just wandering the earth, just lost. soul and spirit not even, or spirit no longer connected to their soul or something like that. That's what it's dredging up. Like that being the eternal fate for those that just refuse to transform at this point. Or maybe they're not supposed to. I don't know. But you see where it's falling up under here, the Six of Pentacles and the Devil card. That is either going to be an equal, a reciprocal, and fair gifting, exchange, give and receipt, or you're going to be overtaken by an energy that is not benevolent and doesn't care to do anything but still kill and destroy your destiny, and will literally invoke any effort to do so. And that doesn't have to be anybody's fate. You choose that. So anyway, thank you for listening and watching. Happy full moon in Capricorn, because I will not be speaking with you tomorrow, but I will talk to you on Monday. So govern yourselves accordingly, relax, rest unapologetically. It's on Sunday, so you have no excuse if you're not working, but to take some time to relax, rejuvenate, reset, regenerate, and reflect, okay? Especially if you got to get back into the world on Monday. And also be graceful that we're all weathering these transits, these cosmic storms together. So be graceful with yourself and also with others, okay? And I'm sure you do. I'm sure you will. So thanks for listening and watching. Until next time, as always, I'll leave you with peace.